大家好，我係 Jeffrey，關於睇嘅設計師創辦人。咁今日我哋係 Astor Eaton Centre 食午餐嘅。我同我好朋友 Philip，我哋都係3D 印刷設計師嘅。係咯，so we're gonna have lunch and discuss some things. Unfortunately, I gotta speak English, and yeah, it's gonna be fun. Thanks for joining us. All right, so Philip, please tell me about yourself. How you know?
Oh, jumping right in, very good.
Yeah. What's the deal?
Well, I'm basically here because you 3D print lamps, and I 3D print shoes.
Yep.
So we caught up the first time about a year ago.
That's right.
Time flew.
That's right.
And then you were nice enough to invite me to a nice lunch here in Astor, which is amazing.
Yep.
And yeah, we were going to talk about 3D printing and why and how we are doing that in Hong Kong, which in a weird way doesn't make a lot of sense.
It makes some sense.
It makes some sense, but there's other places in the world where we could do it, and
That's true.
there's more people doing it, so to speak.
Yeah. Well, okay. Let's talk about that. So, why would you say you're here in Hong Kong?
I came to Guangzhou to work for a footwear brand, and then I learned about 3D printing a little bit later. That was my introduction to it. And footwear and 3D printing is very interesting to me. But also, being so close to China and close to Taobao means that you can start exploring a project for a very limited funds.
Yes.
On a very small budget.
Yep.
And I think that is why I'm still here now.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Is that still relevant for you though? Because I mean, your products are completely 3D printed almost, right?
Yes, but the shoeboxes aren't, the insoles aren't. There's so many things that are not, which you still need. But I don't want to place an MOQ order, a minimum order quantity of 500 shoeboxes, when I only sell 5 shoes a week. So even in that sense, I can buy these products on Taobao, unbranded, and I put a stamp on it, and then it's my shoe.
That makes sense.
So that's a big part, because how do you start a brand? How do you start a business nowadays?
I have no idea. I'm still trying.
Yeah, we are learning on the job.
That's right.
Very much so.
Yep.
But I think it's fair to say we both started with a very limited budget. And if you start with a very limited budget, you have to be smart about these things.
Oh yeah.
And being in Hong Kong in that sense is a blessing, I think. If you're willing to acknowledge or embrace Taobao. If you're willing to embrace that you can get very cheap, basically almost made to manufacturing cost things from China and then sell it to the West.
Yeah, I mean, we're starting to look into that sort of thing for lamp bases and whatnot. But of course, you know, there's always people have concerns about quality. I find that the quality seems to be pretty good usually. I think for us, there is the question of certification, like electrical certification. That's, you know, of course, a legal problem.
But I would say that is a hurdle you only need to cross once you start doing bigger numbers.
That's true. And a lot of these manufacturers, of course, have experience with that. So,
but and also you're a direct-to-consumer brand.
Yes.
So you don't have to deal with as many regulations because you're direct to the consumer. And I think I don't know how do I put this? I don't know if I'm playing within the rules, but I don't know any better. And also, this is the only way I can actually make it happen at this point in time.
Yeah, that's fair.
Because I don't have money to spend on certification.
Right. But do shoes have a similar like?
I don't. To be honest, I don't even know. Because I've never.
Should we be recording this?
No, I think that's fine because we're talking about how to start a business.
Yeah.
I don't know because I'm not B2B.
Yeah.
I don't ship a container to Europe.
That makes sense.
I send a pair of shoes to somebody in Europe. So far it's going okay.
Good.
If there's an issue, I hope somebody will tell me and I'll find out.
I have a similar attitude.
What is that?
Well, that's your job, huh?
Tell people to leave a comment if they know anything.
Well, yeah, this is. Thank you, Alice.
If you know whether or not we're going to jail.
But this is why we have Alice.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
To remind us of the good things. So leave a comment, or just if you want to know more, or if you have an idea, also let us know.
Yep.
How did you end up in Hong Kong? Why are you in Hong Kong?
I'm in Hong Kong because of my lovely spouse's family is here.
Ah, yes.
Thank you. Basically, I graduated from my graduate degree, Parsons. What?
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I didn't know you were Parsons.
And I don't make a big deal with it.
Well, also you're in Hong Kong, so the cachet of Parsons is probably not as big as in the US.
What can you do? But I don't believe in pedigree. So I graduated 2020, so I basically didn't have a thesis show. And so we were like, I was looking for work in the worst year of the pandemic in the U.S. in Brooklyn. And basically, Steph, my partner's family, called them up and said, well, your grandparents aren't doing so hot, and like we really would like for you to like spend some time with them before they leave this earthly plane. So Steph was like, I think I want to do this. Are you in? And I was just like, well, yeah, why not? And it was scary as hell.
Yeah, got nothing to lose.
Yeah, nothing to lose at that point. Definitely didn't have a job or anything. So pretty much that. And then it was that was that. Found some contacts here. Started doing the robot stuff, and before you know it.
Can I ask again? You graduated in 2020
from grad school.
Okay, but still, that makes me feel like a really old fart. I graduated in 2002.
Oh wow. From grad school?
I don't know what grad school is.
Like post-grad.
Like a master's.
Like a master's.
Oh, that was 2005.
Okay. Well, I mean, I did a big gap.
I imagine you had a first life before your second life in Hong Kong.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
Very much.
Okay.
Yes. Like before grad school, I had a whole first life.
Oh.
In Brooklyn, starting the 3D printing stuff actually.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, doing various odd jobs, design related mostly.
I guess that's also how we start, right? We are multidisciplinary designers in a way.
Yeah, it's true.
And then you can do everything. But then also because you can do everything, maybe you just start doing it for yourself.
Yeah, that's right.
It's the mindset, I guess.
That's kind of actually how this brand started. Was I wanted some lamps for myself, and I was like, "What's the craziest lamp I can think of?"
Yeah, basically you thought, what is the most difficult lamp I can make?
What's the absolute hellish, most hellish 3D printing problem I can come up with? Let me decide to do this for the next 5 years.
Yeah, you're doing well.
Thank you. In that metric, I'm doing fantastic.
Okay. On that note, though, shoes are also not a walk in the park.
No, of course not. Wait, a walk in the park?
Hey, ding! Because all the flexing and stuff, and but it's been super fun.
Good.
Because what I really like is that it marries this practical thing, which is they need to be comfortable with a design thing because they're part of your personality, and being able to just do everything myself because that's what we do, right? We have our 3D printer.
The beauty of 3D printing.
It's a factory on a desktop, and then we can just sell it.
Yeah, that's true.
That's kind of cool.
Super cool.
What makes you want to start making shoes?
Basically, I'm a designer, and every time you design something, if you want to get it produced, you have to dilute it because things are not easily possible, or you're working with somebody else and they need to work on it because they have a different expertise. But with 3D printing and 3D CAD, I can do everything. So I can go from the initial idea all the way to having the finished product in my hand. That's why.
So you guys have a very different reason for doing what you're doing.
Do we though?
No, I mean, I feel like it's quite similar. Yeah.
And also, I guess we both like to tinker.
Oh yes.
And we enjoy the exploration process of how a product is being developed. And with the 3D printing, 3D printing is in some ways very limited. So you start working with the limitations of that production method.
It's very true.
And that actually creates a beautiful thing. So I think that is also why we both like it, maybe.
Yeah, most definitely. It's a very unique medium. I personally myself, I think of myself as a sculptor first and foremost. But definitely an engineer in a close second, I think. I guess.
You also make your 3D printers, right?
I built my printer, yes. I built both my printers. That's not, yeah, I mean, it's important to me to do that. Mainly just so I know that I can maintain it. We were going to talk about printers.
Okay.
Hi, Jeffrey. 没有 lattice 啊
Lattice is a three-dimensional repeating structure in space and time. Not time, that's a time.
Yeah, also everything was in time.
Well, everything is in.
Yeah, so you cannot be not in time.
That's true. It's true. There are certain lattices that repeat in time, though. That's a very exotic.
Yeah, it's like minerals, maybe.
Yeah, no. It's they call it a time crystal.
I've heard of this.
It's real. Yeah, it's like a structure.
And can we go back in time with it?
Not as far as we know yet.
Oh, okay.
Maybe one day.
Less interesting.
Yeah.
Tell me about your lattice.
So my lattices are basically made to create what I call non-Euclidean visual effects.
Wow.
Like, you know.
As the meme.
Yeah, right.
So it's not about diffusing the light.
It is about diffusing the light.
Oh, okay.
Of course.
Ah,
First and
why
foremost,
did you say that?
It's a lampshade. Because it does non-Euclidean light diffusing, you know? It's very strange.
And in this case, what does non-Euclidean mean?
What I mean by that is that it's basically like a Euclidean geometry is like, it looks normal. It's like a shape. It's a shape. It has a front and a back, and it's like, you know, you can understand it in 3 dimensions.
Yeah.
But my lattices, when they have light coming through them, they take on an extra almost dimension where it's kind of like the light is being diffused in such a way that it makes an interference pattern with the lattice. And that pattern actually stays constant regardless of the angle of incidence.
See, you really should have brought that lamp.
I really should have, yes. That's true.
It's okay. Like I said, we'll leave this over.
We'll add some visuals in. But anyway, so basically, like you have this lamp sitting there, and it looks really crazy. But then as you walk around it, it looks even crazier because it's either looking similar from different angles.
Why do I have to walk around it? Why doesn't the lamp move by itself?
Well, we're getting there, you know. Maybe one day.
Okay. Work in progress.
Work in progress. Yeah, there's only so much one person and a half can do.
Because think of this. I mean, we have lamps hanging here from the ceiling.
Yeah.
We're not going to walk around them. They're just a static object.
No, but we are, though, because we're walking around the room.
I know, but we don't pay attention to it.
Yes.
Whereas if the lamp itself would be rotating, then it would be part of the drama. So to
It's
speak.
very dramatic, yes. It's true.
Okay.
Yeah, it's on the agenda.
So I've seen your lamps. Is there still unexplored territory in the way that your lattices look at the moment?
Of course.
Okay.
Well, so like right now, basically, I have spent a truly long amount of time developing not just how to make different lattices using Grasshopper, but also how to like make different shapes of them and like how to have them, what they call conformational, like conforming to the surface of different geometry and all that. So I've done all that. But then within that, I've mostly only just done like what we call a simple cubic lattice, right? Like the very most basic lattice, just a bunch of cubes, right?
Where the cell is basically a cube, and then you repeat that,
and it's just,
and then you start morphing it.
Right. So right now it's been more focused on the morphing, and I haven't explored a ton in the way that the cubes are made. However, there's some technical hurdles, right? Because I've also not like. I've programmed the way the lattice is, but also programmed the way the G code is.
Yes.
So, like, I'm also using Grasshopper.
Wait. This is also a weird thing, because I make the shoes and I use a slicer. I use Cura.
Yeah.
But you're slicing directly from Grasshopper.
No, that's correct, yeah.
Which could also be really interesting to me. So, we need to talk.
Yeah, of course. Well, you know where to find?
Yes.
So basically, not only have I been developing these cubic lattices, but I've been developing a very specific printing process of like how the printer should move to create this cubic lattice, right? So to change the type of lattice, to change like the look of the lattice, I would also need to like go back and like redevelop how it's being printed.
But that's a given. That doesn't matter if you do the slicing outside or inside.
Right. Well, but if you're throwing it all in a slicer, it's pretty much figured out. So on the other hand, the good news is that I'm at the point now where I've basically reproduced the functionality of a slicer within Grasshopper.
Yes.
Where it works by layers.
And you're not the only one that I know of. I think I know at least 2 or 3 other people who've been able to do that.
Of a full. Okay. I would love to talk.
Okay, I'll find them again on LinkedIn.
Because what you find is in the current state of the industry, and especially in lighting industry. I don't know how it is for shoes. We have a lot of companies that are starting up that are making 3D printed lamps.
Yeah.
But they're all basically based on like a modified spiral base mode. You know, and because that's what you can do with Grasshopper. That's what you learn to do using Grasshopper.
Yeah.
And there's actually a really awesome book called we already made a video about it. It's
I know the one, I think.
yeah.
From an Italian
It's
guy?
called Advanced 3D Printing with Grasshopper.
Yeah.
He's Spanish.
Is he Spanish?
Yes,
Okay.
yeah. Professor Cuevas.
Yes.
Yeah. Shout out to Professor Cuevas. Tag him on this. But basically, so like a lot of people have seen this book and have been working in this field to do various things. And it's an amazing book. It teaches you the basics of how to set this all up. But it's essentially kind of just mostly because it's actually designed for ceramic printing. So it doesn't teach you how to do retractions. Is what it comes down to. Is that so? Basically, you can only do one single extrusion, the whole thing, for the technical people who know what we're talking about. Like, it basically means you can't stop and start the printer head.
Yeah, I get it.
So what I did was figure out how to do that, basically, using Grasshopper, and organize it into different lines and into layers. And I have it so I can I can vary the extrusion, like, throughout each little movement and all sorts of crazy shit.
And on that note, let me also say that I'm very impressed with how you're printing your lattices on an FDM machine at the scale that you're doing it. Because that's a lot of retractions.
Yes.
That's a lot of potential issues.
Yes.
And,
Thank you.
It's a bit mind-blowing that
Yes.
you actually get a lampshade out of that.
Thank you. Yeah, it's funny because I am very aware of this, and yet, like, day-to-day life, very few people are, like, aware of, like, how insane this is.
Basically, you're doing something very deep.
Yeah, it's very, thank you. I appreciate that. It's taken quite a lot of work to get to where it's at, and I'm happy to share it with the world. I hope that's the.
Well, I also think this is another part of your lamps that should definitely be a part of your, maybe not sales pitch, but of how you present yourself.
I try, yeah. It's hard in Kansas. Although we're trying to do that.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, so yeah. Oh, the point being, since now that I have the slicer, I have experimented a little bit with other lattice shapes, like doing like a cross shape.
Yeah.
And like there's all sorts of other unit cells you can come up with and all that.
There's also this little software program called XYZ something, I think, that people can code G-code in directly.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. It was that thing. I tried to use that actually. It's what's it called?
I remember it being all over Instagram, and a few people. It's the
I think
little
it's
ball on
just
this thing.
called like G-code XYZ. Oh, I know what you're talking about. Where they did the like.
Yes.
Yeah. That was made by one guy.
Okay.
Who that program is in Excel. It's developed in Excel in an Excel spreadsheet. So I basically cannot use Excel to save my life. So I basically like opened this up and I was like, oh geez, I wish it were Python.
Next time.
But Excel, no way.
Okay.
But I basically realized that what I'm doing now is replicating the same functionality. Like I'm basically doing that and more. So yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I consider myself to be kind of at the vanguard of the custom G-code community. Woo.
Sorry, that's just this is coming through here because they're wrapping up.
The buffet's wrapping up. We're on our dessert phase here. Yeah. So there's lattices. And I love them, and I see there's lots and lots of like applications for lattices and all sorts of other fields all the time.
You have a weight petty.
I wait. Yeah. Yep. It's true. Have a rhythm fetish.
Yes. Oh, okay. I can see that.
That's right. I used to be a drummer.
Okay.
Okay.
This is long.
I mean, it's gonna be long. Like it's
I'm
it's
gonna
another
cut
10
it
minutes.
into.
Hopala. Yeah.
Oh, Paugla.
Too much desserts, man. It's too much.
Yeah, a little bit. That
was good.
Great though.
Yeah.
Thanks again to the Astor at Eaton Center.
We'll be back.
We'll be back for sure.
Do we do business?
Do we do business?
It's a hobby. It's a sort of at this point in time.
I hope it's more than a hobby.
Yeah, I mean, we want to pay rent with it, but we still have a lot to learn.
That's true. That's true.
So I think we both have a Shopify site.
I don't.
What do you have?
I just have like regular, it's WordPress. And,
Okay.
like I forget what the WordPress thing is. But yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Well,
Yep.
two more companies to tag.
yeah, that's true.
Do you advertise?
Yes. So I have been basically just doing Instagram advertisements.
Okay, you use
And
the options within Instagram.
correct.
Okay.
And the goal so far has just been to grow the account.
Uh-huh.
Basically I found that like with the very abstract theory that eventually you have enough followers, you should start making sales, right? And so we were doing that for a few months. It was growing quite steadily. We started posting the Cantonese videos.
Yes.
And I made an advertisement with the first Cantonese video as an advertisement, and that did super well. That did like really, really excellent. So I was very happy with that. And I actually almost kind of panicked. I was like, oh, I'm actually like the website's not good enough yet. Like I got to like actually polish things a bit more before I start really going full bore on that.
No, that's super cool.
Yeah, but so that's like where we're at right now. So like we're this right now, and then like next few weeks, next month or so, hopefully I have a product catalog coming out, and we're gonna get back on the horse, and
I would say also have a look at the Meta advertising and business pages.
for Facebook itself.
Yes, because those offer a lot more options.
Oh, how's that?
Well, I find that the advertising within Instagram is quite limited in your choices of region, audience, what you want them to do, like the call to action and things like that.
Yeah.
And there's much more options in I think they call it the business suite of Facebook.
Okay.
So that's definitely
good.
something to look into.
Sweet.
And I guess you're mainly focusing on Hong Kong audience.
Well, not necessarily. Like, yes, for kind of, but like eventually we want to sell everywhere. I mean, it's an online business, right? That's one of the big advantages. And you already gave me the advice about Spaceship, the shipping company.
Yeah. Super happy with them.
Yep. So that's we're using them as well. Yeah. So they're like I said, because we're making electronics, I don't want to burn anyone's house down, so that's, a concern, but it's all stuff you can figure out. It's relatively simple.
Has any of your lamps burned so far?
No.
Well, but that's a good point as well.
Yeah,
I wear test the shoes as well. We test our own products,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
We're not just buying from a factory and then
Right.
thinking it'll be okay.
That's right.
What was I going to say? So what I have noticed is that can be a big difference in how much it costs to advertise.
Oh,
And with the way that you're doing it now, you don't actually have a good feeling for that.
yeah.
But what you do with the business pages of Facebook, that you get graphs and you get a lot of numbers.
Oh,
And you get a much better feeling of why a certain ad might work and why a certain ad might not work.
okay.
Or also how much the cost is for the reach that you get.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I definitely, I've gotten the impression at least that like the Cantonese ads have done like quite well, like proportionately.
But that makes sense. I mean,
all that,
You're based in Hong Kong, and I assume that Instagram thinks that you're advertising to Hong Kong. But that's a question mark.
Sort of. Yeah.
But if it is, then your Cantonese would be a big help.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like it's also just the novelty, the gimmick of being the Guaylo.
If the gimmick leads to more sales, then
of course. Oh yeah, no doubt. Yeah, I mean, I think that it's been a lot of fun, and yeah, I have a lot of faith in my product, so that's my instinct is always to put the product forward first.
Yeah.
The algorithm is, was supposedly wants the people, more. And so that's why we're here doing this today as well. So, I guess it's a balance.
And the products, the lamps that you make, are they made to order or do you pre-produce and then once so if you get an order, can you just grab a shade, put it in a box and send it out, or do you still have to make it?
They're made to order. Yeah.
So, same like me.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
And then what's the process? So I quote 2 weeks production time and 2 weeks shipping time to the US.
Wow, that's pretty good. Yeah, we'd be similar.
Okay.
Yeah. It depends. Oh, so you're saying it's like a monthly time?
Yeah. So
US.
from the order to delivery is about a month to the US.
Yeah, that's about what I would say.
Okay.
Depending on how busy. However, I do have a problem where like for instance, if someone were to order, I'm starting up a home goods store and I want to carry your line.
Sure, yeah.
I need like 20 units.
Yeah.
Then I'm actually not tooled up. Like I don't have enough production to do that. And also the other thing is like my my prints are super slow.
Yes, they
You
take
know,
a
like
long
really,
time.
really, really damn slow.
How long
for
does it take to make a
technical
lampshade?
reasons. Well, so the Spectrum series ones
Yeah.
they range by size, but they range from around 13 to 20 hours.
Okay, so that's
And
basically one a day.
Yeah, for like a little like this. So the bigger ones are like 3, 4, or 5 days, like no problem.
So you need more printers because you only have the
Probably.
one. At the moment.
I have the one for production. Yeah, I have one at home for prototyping, one in the studio for production.
And have you looked into outsourcing this?
That's the next step.
Okay.
Yeah, that's basically what I was gonna say. Is like I'm afraid of that because like on one
Me
hand,
too, yes.
you know, it's like stealing is always a concern.
And that's a
I'm
good
not
point.
super worried about that because my stuff is so unique that if I saw it somewhere, I'd be like, "What the
Yeah.
fuck? That's mine." But also, because I'm doing custom G code.
Yeah.
I actually have no idea if it's been established yet. Like if the
But
industry norms have been.
Sure, but G code should be universal.
Oh,
right?
it is. But
So-
I'm saying I don't know if so if we have a print farm, right?
Yeah.
Normally you're just going to sell them. You're going to send them like an STL, a 3D
Yes.
model, and they'll slice it and do it themselves. I would guess. Maybe you can say, "Oh, I want really fine layer settings." They might charge you more for that because it's slower, right?
Yeah.
But like what I'm doing is the whole thing custom, and so really they have to trust me.
Yeah.
They have to trust me not to crash their machines or burn their
Well-
place down. You know?
They have to trust you with one machine to try it out.
Yeah, of course.
And after that, it should work all the same with the rest.
Right.
of it. But
I'm
that's
just
fair
saying
point.
because the custom G code thing is relatively new. I don't know if that has been normalized yet. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
That's a fair point.
Yeah. For print farms.
So what's the goal?
It's
Sales.
the goal, world domination, of course.
I know, but
No,
we all,
I mean,
we all
the-
say
the-
that, but it's not realistic.
The goal, I mean, you know, looking long term, I would like to influence the aesthetic of the future. That's my
Okay.
you know, that's how I think of it. I think of myself as promulgating a future aesthetic that is based on cutting edge technology.
Would you think? Would you?
In terms of numbers, I have no idea.
Okay, that's fair.
No, in terms of numbers, you know, I would like to pay rent to the studio. I would like to make some cash. You know.
Would you consider yourself the next Ross Lovegrove?
I vaguely know who that is.
Yeah. I think he's had a very big influence on lampshades and also glass tables and stuff like that.
Yeah. He's doing a lot of AI stuff these
Yeah.
days, and that's good. I respect it. He's like in his 70s or something,
Yeah.
trying to figure out the AI stuff. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, maybe, sure. I don't. Yeah, I'm again, like I said, I'm not big on pedigree. I don't really like do that much, research and
Fair.
look at all the other people too much.
Okay.
I just live in my own world. I don't say that to brag. I say that as it's a problem. But
But on that note, we're just
Yeah.
going to sell more shoes and more lampshades. That's
Yeah.
the plan.
definitely
Okay.
that's the plan. More lamps, more shoes. Maybe make some interesting content for people to
I guess
consume.
we should mention our websites.
Oh yeah, we should.
Mine is Fused Footwear, FUSED Footwear.com.
.com. We're at quintlights.com. We're about to launch a brand new spanking website in like literally within a week, less than that. I've been saying that for like
So
2
by the
months.
time this comes out, it's already live.
By the time this comes out, it should hopefully be live.
Okay.
That's right. Knock on wood again.
Okay.
Cool. All right.
Thank you.